Welcome back to the podcast, ladies and gents. My name is Curtis, and you're listening to the Behind the Band podcast, recorded here at Studio 23. And today we have a brand new business in the hot seat. We have ReDefine Coaching owner Bethany. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm all right. Thank you very much for agreeing to come on.
No problem.
First time jitters, first time nerves.
Yeah.
You'll be absolutely fine. You'll be absolutely fine. I've seen some of your stuff anyway, so you're fine. You're no bother at all. So let's find out who you are and find out a wee bit more about ReDefine Coaching. So could you even just introduce as much as you want, please?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Bethany Anderson. I'm founder of ReDefine Coaching, which is an online sort of fitness, health, lifestyle program for women. The type of women that I work with usually are sort of like professional, kind of like career-driven women, mainly in their sort of 20s and 30s, who have probably got to a stage where everything else in their life is kind of took priority and they just feel as if they're quite overwhelmed, stressed, sometimes even burnt out as well, just with the kind of pressures of day-to-day life, and just looking to sort of redefine themselves, if you like. That's where the name came from. As cliched as it sounds, but just to kind of get back to basics and like level up across those three kind of key pillars.
I love that. But what made you actually want to like start this though? Like, did you have a personal journey with when it came to like, you know what I mean, redefining yourself as such? Is that what made it?
Yeah, I suppose.
I know you love the fact that you're helping these women, things like that, but what made you actually think, right, this is something that I want to do?
Yeah, so long story short, I actually qualified as a PT back in 2018. So it was when I was at uni doing my teacher training. Just really enjoyed the fitness side of it. Ran a couple of boot camps outdoors as well, which I loved. Knew I would probably always come back to it at some point, but then my sort of teaching career took priority. So I've been teaching for 5 years now, and just throughout that time, you know, as you kind of progress throughout your career, you go from university to working your way up the ladder, so to speak. I went through that kind of on different cycles here and there, and just trying to find the balance and keep all the plates spinning. So hopefully, you know, having that experience just puts me in a position to be able to kind of relate to the women that I work with. So yeah.
Brilliant. And the sort of things that you kind of focus on when you're doing your online training, obviously we know a lot of it will probably come down to like people talk about weight loss, they talk about strength training and things like that. Is there certain things that you specify then when you're doing like the online coaching with them, or do you look at what they're doing at the moment, or is it totally like let's start from scratch?
So it's pretty much, I know like obviously different coaches have different approaches and what they tend to do. For me, you know, if a woman comes to me and her main goal is weight loss or fat loss, obviously that's something that I'll program for her. But I like to kind of look at the person as a whole, and it's more sort of focusing on the kind of lifestyle things. And as a kind of result of fixing all that, if you like, a lot of the time the body composition just becomes a byproduct of that. So, you know, these are things, as I say, that you kind of alluded to in the last question, that over the years I've sort of discovered and worked my way through. So things like, you know, I'm a big sort of self-development woman. I've always been like reading books, podcasts, all that sort of stuff. So I really focus on that sort of mindset, looking at things like morning routine, evening routine, bedtime routine, like sort of your environment, even just down to things like, you know, caffeine, hydration. So it's like the full picture, because I think sometimes, like, you know, anybody can give you calories to follow or a weight loss program, but it's about the whole thing. And for me, like, what I'm trying to build here is a program and a community where women can actually, as I say, redefine who they are, but it's to create sustainable habits so that in the long run, you know, their health and fitness and lifestyle is transformed overall. It's not just here's a 12-week weight loss plan.
Here's a one-time purchase and see you later, there's the door.
Essentially, yeah.
I like that. I like the fact that then they've got something that they can always refer back to and work to. You know what I mean? We said this, I think, as well, and we've had Damien, who is a PT. Yeah. He's based over in Erskine, if I'm correct at the top of my head. And we were saying that, like, once this journey starts, it doesn't just end. Like, this is with you now till the day that you don't need it anymore. As such, you know what I mean? So it's not just a case of, as you say, thanks very much for purchase, and I'll see you later after your 12 weeks. No knowing their name again. You know what I mean? I like the fact. So when you're obviously doing your coaching with them, I think you touched on it. It's all online. Is there physical as well at all? Like, you know what I mean? Like, are you physically with them at any point, or?
So it's primarily online. We do have monthly meetups as well. So most
cool.
of the girls that we've got at the minute are all kind of like Glasgow and the West based anyway. So we have been having meetups, like going to the gym and having training sessions together, going for like cold dips, that sort of stuff, just to have that community feel. But otherwise, it's all online, yeah.
Is that a certain gym that you would go to for that? Like, have you got a partnership that you work with people for?
No,
this,
we
or?
don't have a current partnership, just sort of, different gyms round about that are suitable sort of thing for team sessions.
That's quite good. And the cold dip.
Yeah.
Not my cup of tea.
I know, that's it.
Man does it, but it looks incredible.
Yeah.
It looks incredible, but
No, it's good.
I'm like not a cold person. Like, I'll just sit in the warmth. I'll watch it, I'll sit from the sides and cheer you on. But they say that is so good for you, that kind of the dip and things as well. And it's not just about going in and, I don't know, like a lot of people, I've seen it a lot with like the ice baths and things like that. They're doing it because it's obviously healing muscles and things like that.
Yeah.
But that is all about kind of, there's another thing, like, I don't know if it's like your mental health touching on it, you know.
No,
what I mean?
totally. Like
the
a couple of
cleansing
people,
yourself sort of thing.
like, have said to me, like, why? So I've got one of the Lumi pods,
Yes,
like at the back.
Yep.
So I kind of rotate between doing that and then like a 10-15 second cold shower in the morning. Because somebody actually messaged me about it the other day, and they were like, why are you doing that? Like, what's the point? And as much as there are loads of like scientific benefits to it, with like, you know, reducing your inflammation and all that sort of stuff in recovery, like, I think for me it's that whole concept of like, if you can do something like that every day, it's like building resilience almost. Because I think like it's really hard. We kind of just expect to be resilient, but you have to like build things into your routine in your life to make you a resilient person. Do you know what I mean? And it's like the more that you do like difficult stuff, like the easier life actually becomes.
You see what it's like with people, and they always constantly put things off and put things off. And you're like, just dig deep into it as well, because the more you do it, the more it becomes easier.
Yeah, no, totally.
Same as working out, innit?
Yeah.
Same, everybody dreads that first time
it's
working out.
getting into a habit, isn't it?
It's breaking the habits and getting into good habits. I think that's it. Breaking the bad, getting into the good. So even go through, if you can, like a kind of step by step, like how you would work with online clients, because I'm obviously intrigued. I've never had an online coach as such, so I'm intrigued how it works.
No, so it's a really good question actually, because I think quite a lot of people that have never, a lot of people are like, what is online coaching? Like, what does it actually look like? And I think because, you know, if someone's maybe had a one-to-one PT in the past, like they've got this idea that someone's got to be kind of like standing over you, counting your reps in order for that to qualify as being coached. So the way I like to kind of describe it to people, it's just like having a PT, except it's like virtual. Like, so it's like having someone with you, but it's just in like a virtual means, if that makes sense. So from the kind of starting process, I would usually kind of go through like inquiry sort of step with someone, just to make sure that like what I'm offering is the right fit for them and what they're looking to achieve. Then I'll usually get on a Zoom call with them, and we'll chat through like what their goals are. Again, see if I can help them, and then you just sort of start the onboarding process. So the three kind of main areas that I spoke about before, like health, fitness, so health, fitness and lifestyle. Within that, like nutrition, exercise, and whatever your lifestyle habits are, I'll set targets based on what the main goal is for the client. So for example, one of the girls that I've been working with recently, in her like first phase, she was just so overwhelmed and stressed out with work that her kind of key goal for the first phase, I feel like, was just to like get balance back. Like, she just wanted to like restructure her day and not feel as if like she's waking up and the day's just running her every day of the week. So again, we looked at those three sections, and it's like, how can we taper it back, and how can we make it individual to the person as well? Because it's just like, well, not everybody weight trains, not everybody wants to spend 3 or 4 hours a week in the gym. So even if that is like swimming or walking, or maybe you go to CrossFit already, like whatever you do, it's about tailoring that to the person as well. And I think quite a lot of women get a wee bit worried, certainly through conversations that I've had, that, you know, if you go with a coach, someone's going to give you like this big list of things that you've got to do, and it's going to be totally unachievable, and people almost like put off like going into something because they're scared that they're going to fail before they've even started. So like, I always say to the women, like, I'll meet you where you're at. Like, for me, the main goal is like to get you being like consistent, like with these habits and routines, and it has to be realistic. And I think, like, you know, you want people to be ambitious and shoot for the stars, of course, and have high expectations for themselves, but also it's about having that like compassion for yourself the same way you have for everybody else. And it's like, right, how can I move the needle forward, but also have realistic expectations so that I'm not constantly thinking I'm a failure for not meeting them and just getting into that cycle of set the high standard, or, you know, I'm going to start on Monday, I'm going to have a list of 20 things that I'm going to achieve, and then it just ends up like going back. So that's a huge part of it. I've gone off on a tangent there, but that's a huge part of like
I'm just like so mesmerised by it as well. Like I've never had that. I've never had a relationship with an online coach as such. You know what I mean? I've never had I've always had it physical for me. Know that it's really worked for me. I mean, look at me. But it's one of those ones. I'm just so intrigued. Like, how do you keep them engaged with it though? Like, how do you keep them engaged knowing that you're not there? Like, all the time with them, do you know what I mean?
So
like,
the community's like a big part of that, but like, so after you've kind of had the initial setup, you know, you pull together the kind of roadmap, talk them through that, and then in the first couple of weeks, obviously there's quite a lot of contact initially just to make sure that they kind of know what they're doing. We've got like a community group as well, so all the women are really good at kind of sharing loads of stuff, like answering each other's questions, even just stuff like, you know, meditation's a big part of, like, I'm a really big advocate of that, so we'll share like links to those things, or podcasts that we're enjoying, all that sort of stuff. So that just keeps everyone engaged as well, because I think everyone also, you know, they've all got, as much as they're all on their own journey, they've got key threads that pull them together as to why they've been attracted to the programme. So it's that power in, you know, yourself. If you're aiming for a goal or you want to develop yourself, it can be quite hard when the people around you don't fully understand why you're doing what you're doing either. Yeah. So it's just really refreshing for them to be in amongst a group of people that have got those same goals and aspirations to a degree, and being able to kind of lean on each other. And like I said, the monthly meetups as well are a massive part of that, just to get together, to, you know, like I say, go for brunch, go for a gym session, and it really makes you feel as if you are part of an in-person thing. And that's what keeps people there, I suppose, isn't it? That being part of something bigger.
100%, definitely. And I think like that, it's not just as you say, it's not just you're building that relationship with that person, and it's not just the online status, like you're not just looking at them over a screen and that be it. You never actually meet them. Like, it's nice that you've built up a community as well. And is it like a Facebook community, like a private group or something like that you've done it on? Is it like a chat blog type thing that you do?
So we've got like a Facebook group, and then we've also had it on WhatsApp. I've moved over to Telegram. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Aye.
But we've been using that as well. So
okay. And I take it once obviously you sign up to come to coaching sessions with you, that would be then included. And everything there, so
then they're just kind of immersed in that, and they can get to know everybody. And
brilliant. And is there like an age? I know you said that you mainly touch on the kind of 20 to 30s, but is there an age restriction on it, or?
I'd probably say more so just that's me working like within the kind of scope of competence, if you like, for me, because I think it is really important, you know. Obviously, I could go away and do training on, like, if I had, you know, say I wanted to work with like postnatal women, I could go and do some more qualifications on that, or even like maybe women in their 50s that are going through the menopause, things like that. Like, you can be clued up on it even if you're not part of that group. But for me, the kind of target market and age group that I'm working with, I feel like I can relate to them, and I've experienced a lot of what they have, and for me that's really important, just to have that almost credibility for yourself, that you can practice what you preach, and you've spoken, you know, you've experienced those struggles as well. It just makes you more
it's kind of things relatable. Like in life, innit? You know what I mean? You don't do something if you've not had the correct training for as such. So that's quite good. And do they offer, like, do you obviously not maybe not yourself as such, but is there training sessions out there that people can do this sort of thing, like, for, like, as you say, for the ages and things like that, for training?
All your different kind of organisations, different fitness bodies and stuff like that, you can do specific qualifications in different kind of groups and specialisms. So
that's quite good to know, and it's something that you could obviously then maybe look to do in the future as such. You know what I mean? As you say, it's nice that you've obviously kind of stuck to what you know as well, and you're not false promising anybody as well. Like the fact that you're like, no, I know what these people are going through, because obviously similar ages with them. I mean, so it's nice that you can have that bit of connection with them as well. As you say, you build up that community as well, and then you're laughing at the end of the day. I mean, you've got people there that would vouch for you and know exactly what's going on. So no, I think that is absolutely brilliant. Do you look at I know we kind of touched upon it, the nutrition of it. It's such a big part as well with everybody's, again, depending what their you obviously did for them individually, the plan as such, but nutrition is something that you kind of go down the route of for people, because maybe I'm not meaning nutrition as in like in a weight loss sort of thing as well, because it could all be do with their impact on their health, not just their weight as such. You know what I mean? People let's be honest, when I'm a bit angry or a bit hangry, whatever, I like to munch on stuff, or I'm a bit stressed, I'll love to munch on stuff. So stuff like that you'd maybe look at as well.
Yeah, no, totally. So obviously nutrition's a massive part of it, and even with the girls that I'm working with, you know, if fat loss is something that they want to work towards, I think it's really important to look, like you've kind of spoken about it there, it's all about your sort of habits and routines, because again, and I'm probably saying this because I've spoken from experience, but someone who's new to kind of like fitness and having that self-awareness over what they're eating, if you just go ahead and give them, you know, a calorie target to eat, a lot of the time people will just eat to the calories, you know what I mean? So it's the same like crap diet, but as long as it's within, and again, it's just like
maybe not eating, they're eating less.
Eating less, exactly. So it's like, you
rather
know,
than being good.
Totally. So again, that's something that I've kind of changed up slightly in my approach, is that bringing in numbers and tracking is something that comes a wee bit later on, because I think initially it's like, right, what does your eating, like what do your habits actually look like? So again, it's that kind of like intensive, almost like a troubleshoot if you like. So for the first couple of weeks I'm like, right, talk to me, you know, describe your nutritional habits. So it's not just about what are you eating and what's the calorie content, like, you know, how are you with like your 5 a day, what does your hydration look like, what's your alcohol intake look like, what about your relationship with caffeine, how does that look, you know, when are you eating, are you snacking a lot? And it's just about, and again, that all comes back to like the consistency and the setting people goals that are achievable, because if you put yourself in a woman's shoes who, you know, has never tracked calories before, you know, and I'm telling you to do this and this, it's totally overwhelming, like, you know, giving someone all of these like things to try and implement. So it's like, right, let's start where you are and let's start to make small manageable changes. And again, it's just, I'm a big like believer in, you know, break down the steps and do it little by little, because that's how you're going to get long-term change. And I would much rather someone, you know, worked with me for 6 months and left and they had a really like healthy, because I mean relationships with food, I mean that's a massive thing. You just need to look at social media and everything, and like, you know, the restriction, the body image issues that people have, like, and a lot of that can come from and does come from like this diet culture that people have been like, you know, a negative relationship with dieting, like particularly women, like through their teens and their 20s. So like I say, usually, you know, when you go back and you focus on all the other things in your life and, you know, your step count, how active you are, all of these sorts of things, and you take care of all of them, actually the body composition, you know, the toning up, the weight loss just becomes a byproduct of looking after yourself and getting all these other markers. And then at that point, once someone does have a real kind of solid knowledge on, you know, this is what I should be eating, this is what my diet does look like, then at that point it's like, right, okay, if we do want to push on a wee fat loss phase, then let's talk about macros, then let's talk a bit more about, you know, dig deeper, exactly. And then at that point that person's then got like a toolkit for life, because ultimately, you know, if you do your job right, you shouldn't have to coach somebody for years and years, because you know, they should be in a better position when they leave you as what they were when you found them. And it's just about giving them those tools and independence as well. I
was going to say, it is literally giving them tools to reshape and redefine themselves and stuff like that. I've been thinking about that the whole time. You just see the wee swirls in my head going, no, but it's all about redefining who you are as a person. And I think like that, it's never too late to change. And I think people sometimes go, well, I'll never change. And I think that's the total wrong message to have in your head as well. And it's about thinking positive, taking it step by step. Don't rush into anything. You know what I mean? It is a marathon at the end of the day, not a sprint. It's one of my favourite sayings to say. But it goes for everything, to be fair. It literally goes for everything. Whether you're listening to this and you're inspired by the words of Bethany, it's regardless if it's about coaching or if it's about, I mean, video editing, if it's about all that sort of stuff, it literally is take things step by step, which totally. I think is really good. You know what I mean? Coaching, I believe, is for everyone. I think everybody could do a bit of coaching in their life. I don't think it's just, don't listen to this and think, oh, like that doesn't suit me. I think it would. There's something in everybody's life. You know what I mean? I would love to get a coach again, but maybe I just need to find the time. Yeah. So how do you stay up to date with all the current trends? Because it is changing all the time.
It's a hard one. This is an interesting question, because I think like it is important to know what's going on, but at the same time, you know, with social media, there's a new trend every day of the week, and I think
massive.
like what's challenging, but it's probably what's the right thing to do is it's about staying authentic to you as well, and that's something that I've probably found quite difficult. Just starting out on this, and how, like, you know, being an online coach, how sort of public you have to be, because when you're doing most other jobs, you know, social media doesn't know about you and your opinions all the time. But I think there's, when everyone is trying to like jump on different bandwagons and get carried away, I think it's just important to be sort of like values led, I feel like, and just think about, you know, what's the true message that you're sending out, because again, coming back to what we're talking about before, it's like, if I'm advertising the programme, if I was to put up an advert tomorrow and say you could lose 3 dress sizes in 2 weeks, I'm going to get way more clients in the door.
It's quite catchy, that, isn't it?
You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole thing. Like, these things are sexy, I like to say, but like long-term change and consistency, it's not so sexy. But that's, do you know what I mean? So it's just like for me anyway, and again, it's like you've kind of got to play the long game, because the trends come and go, and with the trends come attention. But if you want to, you know, build something yourself personally anyway, I think in terms of the business, a model that, you know, you're proud of and really reflects you and who you are as a person, it's just about being authentic. Absolutely, you know, comment on the trends, give input, add value, but it's about, you know, being clear on what you're offering and what you want to do, and not sort of using these trends and to your own advantage, with not so good intentions, if that makes sense.
No, 100%, and it's nice to hear a bit of honesty around it as well, and not just the false promises of, in 3 weeks you will be Mr. Olympia. You know what I mean? It's not like that. You know what I mean? It's coaching. It could take a long time, and that's it. And I think you've got to stick to it. You've got to, you know what I mean? It will be hard. It will be. There'll probably be tears shed, no doubt. But the end game as well. Like when you get to that stage and you're like, I'm really happy where I am. The thing is that we're always improving, regardless of where you are and what shape you are, where you come from, what you look like. Everybody's always improving as well, and just having that extra bit of coaching as well, I think that will really, really, really benefit. I think one thing that we didn't touch on was the fact that you are literally a brand new business. Yes. Don't know if we even talked about it right at the start. You've only been going for 2 months. Yep. That's incredible.
Yeah, so started up kind of August time. Been juggling quite a few plates. Excitingly, well, bittersweet for me, but I'd mentioned earlier on that my background's teaching. I've decided to go full time with the coaching. Wow. So I'm going to be finishing up teaching mid-November. So yeah, it's nerve-wracking, exciting, all the
scary,
things
but
at once.
Exciting it must be. Is that something that you've always wanted to do though, like the coaching and things like that? Like, is that something you've always had? Like, I've seen a lot of people being teachers and things like that, and doesn't matter if it's a teacher or not, but then they just have that wee instinct and they just go, do you know what, I really want to do that. That's me. That's more of me than it is teaching. Yeah,
I think it's one of those things, like I kind of mentioned at the beginning, obviously I got my qualification quite a few years ago, and everything that I've done up to this point, like I'm in the reserves as well, so like everything that I've kind of done as part of my military career and teaching as well is almost kind of, you know, you have these like pit stop moments in life where you sort of review where you've been and like the experiences you've had and how it's moulded you almost, and having those experiences have just sort of led me to this point where I feel as if I've got value to add basically, and it just feels like the right time to take the leap, so to speak.
Brilliant. Well, honestly, wish you so much success.
Thank you.
I hope that somebody watching this is inspired by your words and jumps on the coaching. Definitely. As I say, I feel like coaching's for everyone, regardless if you think you need it or not. I think it is for everyone. Yeah. But the most important part is, come on, how do we find you? Where do we get you? Have you got socials? You got a website? Let's find out the deets.
So Instagram is the best place to find me, and it's Bethany.ReDefine Coaching is the handle.
Perfect. Anything else? Maybe somebody doesn't use Instagram. You get anything else?
Facebook as well. Facebook. Yeah, that's still on.
Everybody's got
in
Facebook.
The making for anybody over 40. But yeah, Instagram's the main place to be.
That seems to be the latest trend, and it's like all these things. Facebook's like dead and stuff like that. But I tend to find that a lot of like, especially with reels and things like that, they seem to boom. over on Facebook as well. So, and I always say that to people, I'm like, it's going to be one of these things where Mark Zuckerberg's just going to throw a wild card out there, because I think he decides it all as well. You know, he owns Instagram, but I think he'll decide if he wants Facebook to succeed or not. Aye, pretty much. He want X to die off, definitely. Last wee bit then. Have you got any tips or advice that you could maybe give somebody, just as a last wee bit, for somebody listening to this and thinking that they want to start their fitness journey or their online coaching?
I would say just like start small. I think the biggest thing that so many people fall into, especially women that are perfectionists, is that whole high standards thing that I spoke about. So it's just start small. You don't have to implement everything at once. It doesn't have to be a Monday or the first of the month or throwing in the towel and waiting until the next time for a fresh start. It's just like do what you can when you can, and just start small and go from there. And small changes over time is what gives you that big impact, I feel like. So yeah.
There you go. Don't start off too big. Do you know what I mean? Take the wee small bits and work on it. That's what we're hearing here. Do you know what I mean? Take your time. Take your time. That's what we've got. We've all got time now, whether you think it or not, because the days are flying by. But you've got time. Don't worry. You've got time. Well, listen. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Hopefully it was nice and easy for you.
Yeah.
You seem like a wee bundle of nails, but you've kind of eased in, definitely. Folks, thank you very much for listening. For those that are watching on YouTube, feel free to leave a subscribe, leave a comment. If online coaching is for you, definitely get in touch with Bethany, ReDefine Coaching. You can find them on Instagram. And if you're listening on Spotify, you also can leave a review. You can leave a 5-star review, rating, whatever it's called. I'm not too sure. But you can leave us a review. There's a Q&A part there in case you want to add your wee 2 pence in as well. So if you want to let us know anything about the podcast. But thank you so much, Bethany, for coming on. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much.